Sleeves here, Senior Pickleball Report, powered by TNC Network. Let's get it going. All right, today in our People of Pickleball episode, we are speaking with NBA and ABA legend Rick Barry. The underhand free throw, probably arguably the best free throw shooter in the history of basketball. And he's a long drive champ. And he's a Triple Crown winner, pickleball, U.S. Open. He's going to try and do the big four senior tournaments this year and win the Triple Crown in all of them. We talk about pickleball, some of the rules like rally scoring, and we talk a little bit of basketball at the end, so stay tuned for that. But before we get to that, if you like this content, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out all our links in the description for discounts. Also, check out our newsletter as well. Subscribe to that, our merch page, and our new website. All right, let's get to that conversation with legendary Rick Barry. All right, hey, we are here with legendary Rick Barry. Welcome to the Senior Pickleball Report, Rick.
Well, pickleball is the way of the future. Fastest growing sport in the U.S., maybe in the world. It's pretty incredible what's happened over the last 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, and obviously you've been around to see a lot of that. I always kind of start, you've done a lot of things in your life, well known, obviously ABA, NBA, long drive, talk show host, game show host, you name it, you've done it. How did this goofy whippleball game find you, though?
Well, when I retired, I had to try to find something to do to compete because I love to compete. And when I retired, I didn't have anything to do that with. I played a lot of tennis, but tennis was getting too hard on my body. And so I didn't want to really do that and beat myself up so much. And so I got into long driving and golf because I was a one handicap golfer. And I was intrigued by the world long driving situation. And so I did that and won multiple world long driving championships with different age categories. And then they got rid of all the old farts. And so I couldn't compete anymore in that. And I said, what the hell am I going to do now? And so my wife said, why don't you try pickleball? I said, what the hell is pickleball? And so she told me about it. And I figured, well, I'm used to having a racket in my hand, so I'll switch over to a paddle. And I had played some platform tennis a little bit. So I gave it a try, and I hated the kitchen to start with, but I realized you can't play pickleball without the kitchen. And I really enjoyed it. And so I got hooked on it. I decided, well, okay, I'm going to try to win a major tournament. So I'm going to practice until I get to the point where I feel I'm good enough to compete. And so I would drive 2 hours from where I am in Florida in the wintertime up to the Villages, which is an amazing complex. They have so many pickleball courts and players up there, and a lot of great Hall of Fame pickleball players, Ted Meyer and Dick Scott and all these other guys that are up there. And so I would drive up early in the morning and play there for hours and got to know some people. And then I'd stay overnight and then play again the next day before I head back home. And so I did that a number of times to help improve my game, because playing against better competition is the way that's going to happen. And so those guys are so good. I had a very escalated learning curve. And so then, within like a year and a half or so of playing, a buddy of mine, Jeff Johnson, said, Rick, you want to play with me in a tournament? They're opening up a new place down in Punta Gorda. And I said, you really want me to play with you? I mean, because that would have been in the 50s, right? I mean, I'm in my 70s. And so he said, yeah, the 50-year-olds. I said, well, I hung up and I called my wife. I said, honey, I've made it. She says, what the hell are you talking about? You made what? I said, Jeff asked me to play. Jeff is not going to ask me to play if he doesn't think I'm good enough to win, because he loves to compete and he wants to win. And so I played with him, and I won my first tournament in the 50-plus in the 4-0s at the time. And then I just better and better, and I've won, a lot of major tournaments, and playing at a lot of tournaments because I was a couple of companies, Medici Leaf and OMD, that were sponsors for the PPA. So I could play in all those tournaments, but it got to the point almost an ordeal. Right. Ever to play, competition wasn't that good. And so I just decided that I'm just going to play in the 4 major tournaments, the Huntsman Games, USA Pickleball National, USA Senior, and the U.S. Open. And so last year I made the decision that I wanted to see if I could win a Triple Crown and just have it all be on me and play singles. I didn't know if my knee would hold up, no cartilage in it from basketball and 4 operations. but it held up great. And so I played last year, and I won 11 of the 12 medals I was trying to win, 3 triple crowns. And my triple crown in the seniors and lost the medal game and mixed doubles and wound up with 11 of the 12. So it's a record that'll be hard for somebody to match. And I think I'm going to try it again this year to see if I can do it. Bob Costanzo, who's a really great player, 75 to 79, won the U.S. seniors, not the seniors, the USA Pickleball Nationals last year. And so I reached out to him. I said, "Are you going to be playing in the 80s?" I said, "I hope so, because at least then I'll have somebody to challenge me, because I really wasn't challenged in the singles. And at least if Bob plays, I know I'm going to have to play really well to be able to beat him. And that would be much more rewarding to me than to just go out there and know that you're going to win without having to play your best."
Right. And that's the thing I think I appreciate about you. You know, a lot of people who have had a career like yourself and have done amazing things in one sport, they don't necessarily risk anything outside of that world. And you don't seem to have a problem. Like you mentioned, you're really into competing, and you've done it from obviously from everything from golf. I mean, one handicap. You're one of those guys. Oh, I'm good at everything. And then now pickleball. And that's what I think is great is you know, you like to compete. And so you're like, I'm just going to work hard and do that instead of just kind of sitting back on your laurels, because you could easily do that.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I just got done playing 2 hours with some nice players, and that was a lot of fun. And I was just up at the Villages again and got to play up there with the 4-5 and 5-0 players. And I just like it. I mean, I hate losing, but I don't mind losing if I'm playing against good people and they play better. You know, it's an incentive to try to get better so that you can beat them the next time. So I enjoy it. It's a great game. It's nice to be a part of it. I'm involved with a company called Pickle Zone that's going to be coming out here in the next month or so. That's going to be very interesting. Nothing quite like it in the marketplace. So we'll see how that plays out and see what we can do with that. And then I have my stuff on here that my Pickle Connections that my friend Harris Williams, who did here locally, and we had hundreds and hundreds of people involved in doing that. And I mean, everybody in their own little community has people who put groups together to play. I've got a guy named Denny Vincent and Ed Klarman down in Naples who put a lot of great games together, a lot of good players there. We did a lot of mixed doubles down there playing and using the rally system, which I think is what pickleball has to do in tournaments. They got to go to rally. Yeah, it takes too long. It's an ordeal to play in a tournament, because let's say you and I play. Okay, so my partner and I, my partner Fred Shuey, we've won multiple men's double stuff, and Fred is great. He's my age, from San Diego, and so we'll go and we'll play. So we win our first match, 11-2, 11-3. Another team goes and plays. They go 13-11, 15-13. 14-12. Well, all of a sudden, the entire freaking day is backed up because of that match. And so, I mean, I've gone where I've gone. You're taking 6, 7, 8 hours to be hanging around there, hour and a half in between matches. It's insane, because if you use rally scoring, you can just play the games of 15 or 21. Our mixed and down in Naples that Ed and Denny put together, it was never more than 5 minutes that every game was finished using rally scoring. It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm 100% behind you on this, Rick. I've been talking about rally scoring since I started playing this game 3 or 4 years ago, and I played beach volleyball for 25 years. And about halfway through my beach volleyball days, they switched to rally scoring, and what a difference, like you mentioned, in tournaments, because you could predict the ending of games because there's only so many points that can be scored, and then the game is over. So everybody's roughly ending at the same time, and you're not sitting around for hours and hours like it was pre-rally scoring. We were doing side-out scoring. And really all the major sports, including, obviously volleyball, like I mentioned, and table tennis and other sports, badminton as well, they've all gone to rally. And I think it's a matter of time with all the rain delays outside on these tournaments. Yeah.
Well, if you're going to have any kind of a thing where you're going to have a telecast of some kind, you have to have that, because otherwise you have no idea how long it could take. I mean, it's crazy. Sure. Plus, I actually think it makes you have to become a better player, because you can get away with when you're serving to screw up and you don't lose the point. Well, shit, now you screw up, you're losing a point. So every point is a critical point in the match, whether you're serving or not serving. And that's the part about it that I think makes it really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, if you miss a third shot drop, you're penalized for it. It just makes total sense. That's why I was a little confused when Major League Pickleball this season is going back to traditional scoring. I'm like, it doesn't, one, it doesn't make it any different than what you're already doing on the PPA and the APP. And two, good luck with broadcasts. I mean, I don't think our sponsors are going to be happy long term with something like that. So I'm all on board with rally scoring as well. I actually think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's just they have to do it, especially TV's getting involved now. But of course, you're doing the streaming, so it's different. You're doing it and just putting it on. It's not like you got sponsors and you have a 2 hour time frame to put the show on. You got that. You can't do that without rally scoring, because if you don't have rally scoring, hell, it could take forever to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned earlier with the kitchen, I don't mention too many guys can bounce balls in front of you being like 6'7", 6'8", whatever you are, and reaching into the kitchen. So it probably doesn't bounce too often in front of you.
Yeah, I don't have super long arms and all, but there's a skill to it without question, and you have to develop all the skills. My biggest thing when I played tennis was having to learn to do the backhand, which took me a long time. I finally got one of the Gullickson twins. So they were great players back in the old days, and he finally put it in a perspective that I can relate to. I mean, when you're seeing
Oh
somebody,
yeah,
you have to be able to relate to them so they can grasp it. And when I finally grasped it, it made all the difference in the world. The same thing here. When I wanted to try to play singles, I had to my backhand was a weakness, and so I had to work on making sure that I had that. And then also I realized you play singles to have a serve that becomes a little bit of a weapon. They say it's not. Well, it is a weapon, and I played with Ignatovich. He's really James. He's Rick. You got to hit it hard. You can hit it with your size and stuff. He
yeah,
says for that sucker, because if you're playing singles and you don't have a serve that's difficult to handle, you now are on the defensive. The other person's going to move you on the court wherever they want to move you if you hit a serve that they can control. Whereas if I hit
right.
a serve that they can't necessarily control, a lot of times they're hitting it, they don't necessarily control it. And so I'm going to be able to control that point. And a lot of times I win points off my serve, but it's very difficult to handle and they'll make a
Yeah,
mistake. So that's a major part of pickleball if you're playing singles, is to have a serve that's difficult to return.
yeah, and I agree. I think it's come to that place in the doubles game as well. As you've seen the sport change since you've been involved in it because of the technology, the paddles, and obviously people speeding up, more people firing away at midcourt when there used to be resets like that. Are you happy with the way the game is going? Obviously, the scoring we talked about, but like the speed of the game, or you think something's missing with some of the touch because the paddles are just exploding out the
No,
balls exploding off the paddles?
you still have to be able to dink it all, but it's definitely become more of a power game. I mean, high tops, top spin drives are hard to handle.
Yeah,
I love it because I love when people challenge me at that, because I tell people when you get older, the legs are what goes first. I still have great hands. And so I love it when people are hitting rockets at me at the
yeah,
net so I can use
yeah.
my hands and my eye-hand coordination. So I'm a big fan of that part of it. And but I have learned to do it, and I do a lot more drives and stuff now. But it's also learning when to hit it. You don't have to overpower everything. Like they say, hit it where they ain't. You could just, if you hit the ball and you can control it and hit it to a spot, a lot of times you can make
Yeah,
shots that are simple, easy, nothing shots that are difficult for the opponents to be able to handle if you're hitting it down at their feet and putting it in spots where they have difficult reaching. So there's a lot more
right.
to the game than just going out there and hammering it.
Yeah, absolutely. And a guy your size, probably a little more difficult to go around and over you. So people may want to start going low because I've watched you play a lot on YouTube and I'm like, good luck getting around Rick.
Yeah, I love it when they challenge me and stuff, for sure.
Yeah. So before we let you go, obviously you're going to play the Big Four tournaments again this season. Triple Crown attempt only in U.S. Open. Or you're going to try it in some others.
No, I'm going to try it in all four of them again.
Okay.
I'll be playing with Sue Matthews, the lady I won last year with down there. We won pretty handily, so I would expect that if we both play our best, that we'll be able to win gold. Play after playing the 4-5s in the men's at the 80, 84, and Fred's 81 now as well. But Fred's only a 4-0,
Okay.
so I have to play our bet. We have to play our best there because we play against some 4-5 paper. But we've had good success together. Fred's a nice player. And then I'm going to play. I had to play with Alice Tim, the former U.S. The big singles player back in Billie Jean's King Day in tennis. who had Billie Jean, I guess, at match point in Wimbledon one year. Really nice lady, but she's got difficulty and stuff now with being able to move, and so I'm actually have had a number of people ask me to play with them women. I said it's kind of took me to be 80 years old to get women chasing after me, but it's kind of fun in a way. And so I found a nice lady, Emmy Emmy Morita. She's a Japanese lady that I played against last year in mixed doubles in the Huntsman, and she and her husband, gave Alice and I a pretty good battle. And so I'm gonna play with her in two of the events, and then I've got to find somebody and see what I'm going to do for the U.S. seniors this year.
Got it. How do you like the Ghost Sleeves knee sleeves? I wear them.
Ghost sleeves are the
changed my
best
game on
product.
some level.
It's the greatest sleeve product that I've ever seen. Compression sleeve with kinesio tape built into it. I've had so many people. Everybody I see that's wearing one, I give them a code. I send them to the site. There hasn't been one person that I've recommended to who's gone and actually got the sleeves and tried them who doesn't love them and wears them all the time. They're great for rehab. Just
Same here.
Yeah, go to the site, right? Go to the site, put my initials, RB24, GoSleeves.com, RB24, put a code in there, you get yourself a nice discount. Amazing product, and they're coming out with new stuff, and they're expanding it with some really cool things. I'm very excited about what the future is with Ghost Sleeves.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last question before we get you out of here. I'm a child of the 70s. And my dad and I have always wondered why the two, I would say, most successful shots in basketball, your free throw and Jabbar's sky hook, have not been replicated really on any major level, considering what both of you guys have done in your careers.
Well, Kareem's is easy to figure out because that's a very difficult shot. I mean, that's just an amazing shot that he had, and not easy to learn how to do that. My is very easy to learn, really. But for some reason, there's an aversion to players wanting to do it, the way they look, granny shot. Who the hell cares what you look like? The object is to try to make the highest percentage you can make. And it's proven. Here's the thing. It's proven scientifically by physicists that it is the most efficient and best way to shoot a free throw that exists. Why in the world would you not want to try it to get better? And here's my big thing that I'm saying every interview I do now. One day, some owner, some GM, some coach is going to have enough guts to not allow a player to tell them, no, I'm not going to do that, and say, hey, you suck at the free throw line. You have to learn to do that. Otherwise, you're going to get fined. I mean, you're an employee, for God's sakes, getting paid millions of dollars, and you could tell your boss that you're not going to do what he wants you to do to help make you better, to help his team and help his company. That's the most insane thing that I've ever heard in my freaking life. So tell these guys, no, you have to learn how to do this.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of? When people have an aversion to the drop serve. And they're like, it doesn't look good. I'm like, who cares? If you can do something effective with it, you might want to go to it. It's aesthetics really get to people. It's really odd to me.
Well, it should be. You're trying to get to do whatever you're doing in any sport or anything in life and business, to do it as efficiently and as effectively as you can. So you should be willing to try anything that's not against the rules, right, or against the law. Why in the hell would you not try it to see if you can make yourself better, instead be concerned about the way that you look? I mean, the way you look, well, first of all, if you're shooting 30, 40, 50, 60%, you look like an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
So what the hell? So you're worried about shooting underhand, and if you could do it underhand, you could shoot 70, 80%. Why the hell wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Great.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah. Anyway, well, keep up the good work with this. Pickleball is a great game. It's fun to play. My goal is to be 100 years old and be healthy enough to play pickleball and go fly fishing.
Absolutely, Rick. Hey, I appreciate your time, and thanks for all you've done for the sport, and look forward maybe to running into you in person someday. Hope you enjoyed our interview with Rick Barry. All right, folks, you know what to do. At the end of the day, let's pickle.